Mike Waltz has been serving as the representative of Florida's 6th District since 2019. He brings a unique perspective to Congress as the first U.S. Army Green Beret, which gives him first-hand knowledge and expertise in foreign policy and military matters. Congressman Waltz has highlighted the concerning threats we face on the global stage, including Russia's aggression in Ukraine, the ongoing military buildup by the Chinese Communist Party, and the recent missile launches by North Korea. His insightful analysis and eloquent communication make him one of the standout figures in the current Congress. We are delighted to have Congressman Michael Waltz with us. Thank you, Governor, for the warm welcome. Your kind words are greatly appreciated. As I was conversing earlier with Nikki Haley, the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan was a topic of discussion. This hits close to home for you. Having served in combat multiple times, your experience goes beyond being a soldier. You were a distinguished Green Beret, the epitome of excellence. As a military person, how does it feel to witness our sudden departure in the dead of night? It is fundamentally un-American, Governor, to abandon fellow Americans and forsake our allies as we did. The decision to retreat, to cut and run in the face of terror, is deeply disheartening. Sadly, we are now witnessing the direct consequences of that choice, as the Taliban has established its own caliphate, reminiscent of ISIS during the Obama administration. Now we face the alarming reality that ISIS and Al-Qaeda have transformed into a formidable super-state, and they harbor intentions of attacking us once again. They are actively preparing for such actions. The concerning development is that now we witness the alignment of Putin, Iran, and other nations in their march towards instability. This is the consequence of America's retreat in the face of terrorism, Congress. However, there was a time in this nation when presidential transitions from Democrat to Republican did not bring about such radical shifts in foreign policy. There existed a certain stability, with some nuanced differences. We had individuals like Sam Nunn from Georgia and Scoop Jackson from Washington State, both strong Democrats who firmly believed in the military. These leaders would never have stood idly by without explaining to us, who are grappling with the uncertainty, the intentions of this administration regarding critical issues such as Afghanistan, Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and China's aggressive stance towards Taiwan. Indeed, we are witnessing the interplay of two fundamental forces. Firstly, there are the progressives, who hold the belief that our country is fundamentally flawed. They view America as inherently racist, misogynistic, and colonialist, and they advocate for tearing down and rebuilding it in their own image. Secondly, there is the perception abroad that America is more of a problem than a solution. When these two ideologies converge, there is a belief that through extending a hand to adversaries, rather than a fist, we can solve global issues. This sentiment was echoed by President Obama in his second inaugural speech. However, based on my experiences serving across Africa and fighting in the Middle East, I can confidently say that our adversaries understand strength. Terrorists comprehend the language of force, and they only respond to the unequivocal display of power. While I don't wish to sound overly harsh, it is a reality we must acknowledge. However, that level of commitment is necessary to ensure the safety of America. We must take the fight to the enemy in their own territories. The last thing we want is another tragedy like San Bernardino. Pulse nightclub, or, God forbid, another 9/11. We must remain proactive and maintain pressure on our adversaries, rather than waiting for them to strike on our soil. I truly value your perspective. Governor, if I may add one more point to underscore this. It is crucial that we not only possess the greatest and most capable military assets, including drones, planes, and well-trained personnel, but also have a commander-in-chief who is willing to employ them effectively. Without the belief that our leader will take decisive action, all our military might becomes futile. This absence of strong leadership is a concern that weighs heavily on me. As someone who has led soldiers into combat and was responsible for their lives, it is truly alarming to think that our country would deploy them into battle but fail to come to their aid when they face trouble. Moreover, imposing overly restrictive rules of engagement can hinder their ability to effectively combat the enemy. It is disheartening when our soldiers are not allowed to fully engage and defeat the enemy, while being subjected to the fear of prosecution for carrying out their duties. Of course, our soldiers never want to harm civilians, but tying their hands in such a way undermines their ability to accomplish their mission effectively. The soldiers on the ground are doing their best, and they strive to avoid making mistakes. However, it is a twofold issue. One of the core principles we live by is never leave a fallen comrade. This is ingrained in us, and that is why many veterans, including myself, were deeply disturbed by the situation. The lack of accountability for the 13 Gold Star families who shouldn't be mourning the loss of their loved ones right now is truly disheartening. Governor, when we regain control of the House this November and remove Nancy Pelosi from her position, we will make a strong push for a Benghazi-style select committee specifically focused on Afghanistan. We need to uncover the truth and understand the decisions made by Joe Biden, the advice provided by the United States military, and what crucial information was disregarded. We must get to the bottom of this absolute debacle and address the moral stain it has left on our collective conscience. The American taxpayers deserve to know the truth about what happened to the billions of dollars worth of equipment that they paid for, which was left behind for the Taliban to seize. It is deeply concerning because it means that groups like Al-Qaeda and ISIS will once again attempt to strike us from Afghanistan. This, in turn, will require future Green Berets, Navy SEALs, and other service members to return to that region, where they will have to confront the enemy using the very equipment we abandoned. This situation is utterly unacceptable. As we speak, our local allies who stood by us, believing in the values represented by our flag, and aspiring for a better future, are being relentlessly hunted down. Just this morning, I received a note from one of my interpreters, who is now an American citizen and has started his own business. Tragically, the Taliban and these terrorists, when they cannot reach you directly, resort to targeting your family. In this case, they took one of his brothers, tied him up behind a truck, and ruthlessly dragged him to his death. I apologize if my words may sound harsh, but it is essential for people to hear and understand the reality of what is happening. Transparency and awareness are crucial. Additionally, I want to address every veteran out there, many of whom are facing challenges. It is disheartening to note that we have seen an 82% increase in calls to the suicide hotline at the VA since last August. I want you to know that your service was not in vain. You played a vital role in keeping an entire generation of Americans safe from another 9/11. One of the reasons I am in Congress, fighting through the political noise and distractions, is for veterans like you and your families.